Hi guys, it's Frankie from Frankie Tech. Good to see you guys again, and I'm here on day 2 with the Xiaomi Mi 10 5G. And gosh, this phone I have been using non-stop since the moment it arrived yesterday, and I have a lot of thoughts about this phone. Let's jump right into it here, talking about design, display, performance. We'll do a quick audio test, and then wrap up with sharing some camera samples and PUBG, of course, the classic Just Keep Swimming showdown. So let's get started. Design. We have a 208 gram 9mm thick phone. This is a thick and this is a fairly heavy device, but it still feels very sleek in the hand, and that is because of these curves. There are just curves all around this device, and the first thing you notice on this phone is just how gorgeous it looks upon first appearance. This glossy type of metal is the type of metal that I appreciate the most. It's the same kind of look as you saw from the K20 Pro and the Mi 9T Pro series. As you can see, we have an IR blaster, a top firing speaker system on this, volume rocker, power button on this side, USB-C, the other speaker, and the SIM tray, and just some antenna lines on the side. And I picked this phone up in this gorgeous green color, which yes, is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, but it still, I think, is the most appealing color of the options available. And now let's face it guys, they have gone for a punch hole in this phone. And while we have very reduced bezels top and bottom, this is going to be a point of contention I think for a lot of you. Some may like it, some may hate it. I personally think the punch hole is not bad. It's definitely small. It's a little bit kind of pushed to the side, and I think in certain situations it'll be in just the right spot, specifically gaming. But the bigger issue I have with this phone is the curved edge. Guys, this curved edge is very much pronounced, similar to the one on the Mi Note 10 and Mi Note 10 Pro series, and it's just something that I feel is a little bit 2019 at this point. Even Samsung is moving away from these really curved edges, and yes, it does make being able to swipe from the left and right a lot easier, but you just have a curve that I feel detracts a bit from the display, and as you can tell there's a little bit of ghosting that happens just naturally because of that curve. Now, I don't mind having a little bit of a curve, but this one is a little bit more than I would like, but that doesn't detract from the fact this is a gorgeous phone with a beautiful kind of look to it and a large camera array that does make it wobble around the table quite a bit. But beyond that, this is a beautifully designed phone, and I would say design is definitely up there with one of the best phones that Xiaomi has ever designed so far. And in terms of display, we're looking at a 6.67-inch Super AMOLED panel, and the main feature to this is that 90 Hz refresh rate. It makes a huge difference. You notice it, and you never unnotice it. Now, I use phones like the Realme X2 Pro in a similar way. It just is something that you really appreciate, and this panel is no different. We also have DCI-P3, HDR10 Plus compatibility, and we have a 180 Hz touch response. That, I think, is another key feature to the responsiveness of this. So it's not always about refresh rate. A touch response rate that is that high will make for a more fluid experience as well. I have no problems with this display beyond just the curved aspect of it. It really is a matter of preference, but that doesn't mean that this panel disappoints. It's one of the nicest aspects of this phone, and I for one am happy that Xiaomi has joined the 90 Hz AMOLED club here with this Xiaomi Mi 10. And here is YouTube playback on the Xiaomi Mi 10. And where's the punch hole? You see what I mean, guys? With a certain type of video, you won't notice it. Obviously, zoomed in is how you're going to notice it the most. Yes, on white backgrounds, it's very obvious, but I think beyond that, it is still a very immersive display. Probably one of the most immersive displays Xiaomi has done to this date. And the colors pop off the screen. Yes, you do have, though, that little bit of distortion happening also because of the curved edge. I'm personally in the camp of not liking that as much, but each to his own. It's still a gorgeous and immersive viewing experience here. With dual firing speakers on the Xiaomi Mi 10, the voice sounds crisp and clear, and so far, we're looking really good on this Xiaomi Mi 10. And if YouTube playback wasn't impressive enough, this is an unprecedented first on Frankie Tech. Yeah! We got to clap for this one, guys. This is the first time I've seen an L1 security level for wideband CDM on a China ROM release phone. Xiaomi, you've done it. This is incredible because this means we have HD Netflix capability out of the box. Every single phone I've tested from the company with the China ROM is always L3. Not in this case, we have L1 out of the box, and I think that's a major win here for the Xiaomi Mi 10. And looking at performance, the Geekbench numbers are very impressive. Some of the highest scores I've seen here on Geekbench 5, approaching 1,000 single core and 3,300 multi-core. And we also have the Antutu scores, 588,000, so it didn't surpass the 600,000 that you've seen on some reports, but this represents basically the pinnacle of performance here on Android with the Snapdragon 865. This is the 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gig version, but you can get up to 12 gigs of RAM as well. UFS 3.0 storage. Performance on this is beastly. This thing is a monster. It is awesome to finally have the next generation of Snapdragon. And how does this translate into daily use? You're just going to have a phone that flies. There have been 0 slowdowns so far. All apps just open incredibly fast. And add to that 90 Hz refresh rate and 180 Hz touch response. You are just flying on this Xiaomi Mi 10. And talking about battery life, guys, I still need to do more testing and full charges on this phone. We're looking at an estimated screen on time of 9 hours and 3 minutes. We do have a pretty beastly 4,780 milliampere capacity. It's larger than the one on the Mi 10 Pro. And in terms of charging, we have a 30-watt fast charging and a 30-watt wireless charging. This may be the first phone I've tested where the wireless is just as fast as the wired. But obviously, this can't compare to the beastly Mi 10 Pro, and it's up to 65-watt fast charging. But so far, very promising results, and I will be sharing more battery experiences of the Mi 10 very soon. And now a quick audio test. I'm going to bring the mic down. Let's have a listen. And what can I say? This is probably the best audio experience, speaker experience I've had on a Xiaomi phone ever. There is so much stereo separation from these two dual speakers, but the best news here is that the secondary speaker at the top is legit. It is coming out completely on this side, and it just makes for a really immersive listening experience. Now, I do wish there was a little bit more bass maybe in the playback, but gosh, it is a real impressive achievement what Xiaomi has done here with this dual speaker system, especially because this phone isn't a huge phone. You know, it's not a Galaxy Fold or a Mate 20X, but to get that much stereo separation is impressive. Good work, Xiaomi, here on this stereo system on the Mi 10. And now talking about the cameras, we have that 108 megapixel Samsung sensor, and they worked on this with Xiaomi. It's the same sensor that was used on the Mi Note 10 series. It's a terrific sensor, but what the Mi 10 also has is a 13 megapixel ultra wide. Now, the one omission here on the Mi 10 series, there is no telephoto lens included here. We have a 2 megapixel macro and a 2 megapixel depth sensor. This phone is capable of 4K up to 60 FPS, but also capable of a whopping 8K, and there you see it. And the only other phone to include that capability is the S20 series. But yes, the lack of a telephoto means you're going to want to pick up the Mi 10 Pro if you want those additional features. But have a look at these samples here that I took yesterday and these video samples, and let me know what you think in the comments. This is rear-facing video on the Xiaomi Mi 10, shooting in 4K, 60 FPS. Finally, a sunny day here in Hong Kong. Stabilization looks very good. I am liking this camera, guys. I'm liking this camera. But hit me up in the comments. What do you think? And this is front-facing video on the Xiaomi Mi 10. And yes, this is not some sick patient, some random dude. This is Frankie Tech. There I am. But it looks really good. And the stabilization, I've heard good things about it on this phone. But hit me up in the comments, guys. What do you think? And this is 8K video recording on the Xiaomi Mi 10. And I know this is what you've been waiting for, some PUBG action here on the Mi 10, some Just Keep Swimming action, and we go HDR Ultra. That is as high as we go here on the Mi 10. I have it set to realistic and enabled anti-aliasing and shadows, and I've disabled auto adjust graphics. Everything's ready to go. And it's time for the classic Frankie tech swim test. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Woo! Oh, yes. It's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back. And at the plane jump, the Adreno 650, having no problems whatsoever, no stutters, just looks incredible. Let's get down to the surface, get some guns, get some action. And I can tell already, guys, that the response rate on this phone is just incredible. And you see my thumb is covering the punch hole. There's something nice about having the punch hole in that spot. It actually covers up, at least when I'm playing, and so you don't notice it at all. Let's see if we can find some action here on the Xiaomi Mi 10. And I'm not finding anyone so far, so I'm going to get into this car and drive around. And we've been playing now for around 10 minutes. And this phone is cool to the touch, no issues, no stutters. This is what beastly Snapdragon processors do to games, guys. They just annihilate them. And if you wanted an endurance game on this Xiaomi Mi 10, we are now 20 minutes in, and this phone is still cool to the touch. Very little action here though, but only 33 alive. Let's see if I can even make it to the end of this game. And finally a bit of action up ahead. Let's see if I can get some action here. Oh, and they're shooting at me. Oh my gosh. And look who got me. Oh, it was a sniper. And I can't believe it. I got to 27th position there. And who was it who got me? Yes, there he is. And once again, dag nabbit, playing on my own account. But how is this Mi 10 doing? This is playing on Ultra and HDR, and we are cool to the touch. This Snapdragon 865 with the Adreno 650 is legit. Really great performance here on the Mi 10 with PUBG Mobile. So that's it for this video, and my final initial verdict here on the Mi 10. This is a Snapdragon 865 beast. And yet there's one aspect to it that I'm just not a huge fan of. I knew that would be the case, is the curved edge display. But I would say this is one of those times where there's enough good here, from the beautiful design to the gorgeous 6.67 inch display, the touch response, the powerhouse 865, dual speakers, and a really great camera, I think, and improved mics as well. But most importantly, I think one of the little things that I valued the most are the improved haptics. The vibration motor on this Mi 10 is much improved. And now when you go to sound and vibration, you have a whole section here dedicated to haptic feedback, and you can adjust to your desire. I like it a little bit stronger, but that has been a really great inclusion here in this Mi 10. And so yes, for the price, if you can get this closer to that entry level price of 3,999 won, you have a terrific Snapdragon 865 phone on your hands. But gosh, Xiaomi, that curved edge display, if it was just a little more flat on the edge, I would love this phone even more. But hit me up in the comments. What do you think of this Mi 10? And stay tuned, guys. Obviously, a lot of great comparisons coming up. I especially want to compare it next to my favorite flat display friend here, the Realme X2 Pro. And of course, what would a comparison on Frankie Tech be without the Mi 9T Pro? Powerhouse phones from 2019 to the new powerhouse from 2020. Stay tuned, guys. It's going to be a fun one. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked it, give me that thumbs up. And if you love the content of Frankie Tech, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for future updates. Stay tuned, guys. More great Mi 10 content coming, and stay tuned as well. There may be a special surprise coming in this family very soon. So that's it, and this is where I leave you by saying, this is Frankie Tech signing off. Have a good one.